They thought they could keep you locked away forever, bound by their words, shackled by their expectations. They wrapped their chains around you, convinced they had stripped you of your strength. Every insult, every betrayal, every twisted lie, they thought it was enough to break you. And for a while, maybe it was. They saw you stumble. They saw the weight crush your shoulders. They smiled as you struggled, thinking the chains would be permanent. But what they never understood is that chains are not just instruments of restraint, they are lessons. Every link forged around you taught you something they never wanted you to learn. They thought they were caging a helpless creature, but what they failed to realize was that they were creating something far more dangerous. You see, they mistook your silence for defeat. They believed your suffering was a sign of submission. But the thing about pain, it awakened something they could never comprehend. While they laughed and celebrated your downfall, you were growing, you were learning. Every ounce of agony was another piece of armor, every insult another sharpened blade. They tightened their grip, thinking it would destroy you, but with every pull you felt the fire inside you burn hotter. And now those chains lie shattered at your feet. They can't understand how it happened, how the creature they caged became something unstoppable. They were so certain of their victory, so confident that they had beaten you. But the truth, they never stood a chance. They weren't chaining a victim, they were forging a conqueror. But even now, they refuse to admit it. They'll tell themselves it was luck, that you must have had help, because the alternative, the truth, is unbearable. The truth is that they underestimated you. They thought they could break you, but the moment they tried, they sealed their own fate. You are free now, and not because they released you, not because they gave you permission. No, you ripped the chains from your body with your own 2 hands. You tore through their lies, their manipulation, their control. You didn't wait for an opening. You made one. They thought their hold on you was permanent, but all they did was teach you how to endure. And once you learned that, there was nothing left to stop you. But the best part, the part that keeps them awake at night, it's that they know you're never going back. They'll try to convince you otherwise. They'll whisper sweet apologies. They'll claim they've changed. They'll beg for your forgiveness, not because they regret what they did, but because they regret what they lost. You were their favorite puppet, the one they could control, but the strings are cut now, and without you to manipulate, they are powerless. They'll regret it. Every time they see you rise, they will remember the chains they once held. They will remember the laughter they shared at your expense, and it will haunt them, because no matter how tightly they cling to their delusions, the truth remains the same. You broke free, and no chains can hold you anymore. But freedom isn't just about escaping the chains, it's about what you do next. You could waste your days seeking revenge, throwing the pain they gave you back in their faces. You could burn their world to the ground, and oh, they would deserve it. Every last bit of it. But that's what they expect, isn't it? They expect you to lash out, to scream, to let your rage consume you. But you're smarter than that, because true victory is not destruction. True victory is walking past the wreckage with your head held high. It's knowing that their opinions, their judgments, their pathetic attempts to break you, none of it matters anymore. They don't get to define your story. They don't get to write your ending. You write that yourself. And while they drown in their regret, you'll rise higher than they ever thought possible. They'll watch in disbelief as you achieve everything they swore you never would. But the most satisfying part, you won't even care, because their validation means nothing. It never did. They'll beg for your attention. They'll scramble to rewrite the past. But their words are empty. The chains are gone, and with them their power. You hold all the cards now. Every scar they left on you is a reminder of what you overcame. Every mark they tried to leave on your soul has become a symbol of resilience. They thought they were writing your downfall. Instead, they authored their own humiliation. But don't waste your laughter on them. Save it. Save it for every moment you prove them wrong without even trying. Save it for every time they choke on the sight of your success. Save it for every day you wake up without the weight of their chains around your neck. Because you are not the same person who once knelt beneath their control. That version of you is gone. The chains they forged so carefully did not bind you. They forged a weapon, one that no longer serves them, one that is free. So walk forward. Let the shadows of your past crumble behind you. Let them scream your name in bitter regret, but never look back. Not because you fear them, but because they are no longer worth your gaze. No chains can hold you anymore. And now the world will see what true freedom looks like. They're afraid now. You can see it in their eyes. That flicker of doubt, the trembling hands, the forced smiles. They don't know how to handle what they've created. You were supposed to stay down. You were supposed to accept your place beneath their feet. But instead, you broke free. And the worst part for them, you're not angry. You're not consumed by the need for vengeance. No, that would be too simple. They could justify your rage, call you unhinged, label you as the monster they always pretended you were. But you're calm, you're deliberate, you're free, and nothing terrifies them more than a force they can no longer control, because now the chains are on them. The ones who held the keys, who relished in their power, who thought they could manipulate and dominate, they're the ones who are trapped by their own insecurities, trapped by the knowledge that they failed. They threw everything they had at you. They used their words like whips, their lies like daggers, and still you stand. And now they are left with nothing but regret. You can hear it in their voices, the forced congratulations, the strained compliments. They don't mean it. Every word is drenched in bitterness. They'll say they always believed in you, that they knew you had potential. But the truth is far simpler. They regret losing their control. They regret every time they mocked you, every time they convinced themselves that you were nothing without them. And now, every step you take is a reminder of their failure. They were so certain the chains would last forever. But what they didn't see, what they refused to see, was that the chains were never your weakness. They were your strength. Because the thing about chains, they're heavy, they drag you down, they press into your skin, make you feel their weight with every step. But when you carry that weight long enough, something shifts. Your muscles grow stronger. Your endurance builds. The pain no longer breaks you. It becomes your teacher. And when the day finally comes, when the chains shatter and you rise from the ashes, the strength remains. They underestimated you. They thought the chains would define you, that the weight would be your end. But you didn't just survive, you thrived. Every scar they left behind is a testament to your resilience. Every wound is proof that their worst wasn't enough, but now they're desperate. They'll try to crawl back into your life. They'll wear masks of remorse, pretending they never meant to hurt you. They'll say it was all a misunderstanding. They'll offer empty apologies, not because they care, but because they fear what you've become. And isn't that the sweetest irony? The people who once held your chains now beg for your mercy. They want forgiveness. They want reassurance. They want to believe that the monster they created will show them kindness. But the problem with creating monsters is that sometimes they remember exactly who made them, but you're not like them. That's what they don't understand. You don't crave destruction. You don't waste your time plotting their downfall. That's their game, not yours. Because while they remain prisoners of their own regret, you are already miles ahead. Your freedom isn't just the absence of chains. It's the realization that nothing they did can touch you anymore. They can scream your name in anger, spit venom from the shadows, try to drag you back into their chaos. But none of it matters, because you've already won. They'll never admit it. They'll never say the words. But deep down they know. Every achievement you earn, every goal you shatter, every ounce of joy you experience, it all burns them, because they swore this day would never come. They bet everything on your failure. But the house always loses when the game is rigged. And the game was rigged from the start, wasn't it? They stacked the deck. They cheated. They used every trick they had to keep you small. But the funny thing about rigged games, they only work if the other player doesn't know. But you knew. You knew the rules were never fair. You saw the way they twisted every situation to keep you caged. And still you played. You endured their games until you no longer needed to. You waited for your moment, biding your time, letting them believe they had won. But when the cards fell, it was you who stood victorious. And now they're left with nothing. The chains they held so proudly are useless now. The titles, the reputations, the masks they wore, none of it can stop you. You shattered the illusion. You broke the cycle. And no matter how loudly they scream, they can't bring it back. But don't forget the feeling of those chains around your wrists, not as a burden, but as a reminder that you were strong enough to endure, strong enough to survive, strong enough to rise. And now, you are untouchable. They will watch you from the shadows, clinging to the scraps of their former power. They'll wait for you to stumble, to falter, to prove them right, but you won't, because you know what they never understood. Freedom isn't something they can take from you. It's not something they ever truly had control over, because your freedom, it was never theirs to give. No chains can hold you anymore, and the world, it will never forget the sound of those chains breaking.